This story was submitted by an anonymous viewer. I'm a 21-year-old female attending university. I met Arnold when I was 18 through a friend of a friend who thought it would be nice to introduce me to someone who shared similar interests to mine. Arnold is an art student at my university. He is 1 year above me, so we never take any classes together. He seemed nice enough when I met him, so I accepted his Facebook friend request later on. Nothing seemed weird at first. He would send me links to his art blog and show me his recent illustrations. I would say they were nice, and that was that. Things took a weird turn when my birthday came along. I was walking out of class with two of my friends when one of them spotted him sitting on a bench nearby, just staring at us. We walked over, and he simply handed me a rolled up piece of paper and said, "Happy birthday," and left. It was a birthday note with a drawing of me, so accurate it was impressive, and rather weird. I shrugged it off as a nice gesture and sent him a courtesy thank you message later on. I was so busy with class and a new part-time job that I didn't talk to him for a month or two, but would sometimes see him in the distance whenever I was leaving class. I always thought maybe we had similar schedules. Then one day, leaving a late-night class with a friend, we spot him walking over towards us. We were making plans to go out later that night to a bar with some guys we liked. Arnold walked right up to us and told us that he was going there too. Up until that point, I really thought he wasn't listening to our conversation from a distance. He said that he was going with some friends and that he would see us there. We were a little weirded out, but no red flags so far, so we went to the bar with the guys. When we arrived, he was sitting alone in a corner at a table for two and shyly waved at me. I went over and said hi and asked him where his friends were, and he motioned for me to sit on the other chair, as if we were on a date. One of the guys quickly came over and told him to sit with us at a bigger table. Arnold quietly did so. He was quiet the whole night. All he did was stare at me, or glare at my friends. It was so uncomfortable, we decided to call it a night and leave. We said our goodbyes and headed to my friend's car that was parked outside. Leaving the bar, we saw that he was following us, so we waved goodbye again. It was very dark and cold outside, so we ran to the car and got inside quickly, just to realize he had followed us there too. I was in the front passenger seat and had the window rolled down a bit, and before I could do anything about it, he was right there beside me. He shoved an envelope through the window and left. My friends begged me to open the envelope on our way home. I was so creeped out, but I opened it anyways. In it, there was a note confessing his love and how he liked me since the moment we met. I felt really guilty because I never really liked him, and I never flirted or did anything to make him feel this way. My conscience was clean. But that all changed when I searched the rest of the envelope. There was a drawing of a bloody stuffed animal holding a knife, and another one of my face. This time, it looked like one of those hyper-realistic paintings, almost like a photograph. He even got all my freckles right. My friends laughed it off, but I was genuinely creeped out. Then, I got a text message from him saying, "I'll see you in the park tomorrow at 4 in the park close to campus." And then another one saying, "Will you come?" And a third with, "I'll be waiting." I decided not to be a total bitch, despite how creeped out I was, and texted him that I would not be going, and that I had a boyfriend. I made that second one up. He just replied, "I'll be waiting anyway." And wait he did. The next day he must have texted me about 20 times asking me where I was and how he was waiting for me, and he would wait as long as he could, even though I texted him again to leave me alone and that I would definitely not show up. He even called about 10 times before I blocked his number, and later blocked him on Facebook too, hoping it would be the end of it. About a week later, I had an improvised and surprise work meeting, which I was sure only my coworkers and I knew about. I had to leave early, and as soon as I did, I saw Arnold was outside waiting for me. How the fuck he knew I was there is beyond me. I was infuriated by now, but I also felt a bit scared because I was all by myself. He came up to me, and I continued walking to my bus stop, trying to ignore him. He continued following me, so I turned around to tell him to fuck off when he pulled out an origami box and tried to hand it to me. "I made this for you," he said. "Open it." On a desperate attempt to hope to maybe get rid of him, I took it and opened it. It had 4 chocolates in it, obviously homemade. "Eat them," he said. No fucking way. We were all alone, and there was no way I was going to even smell these chocolates. Luckily for me, the bus stop was only a block away, and I could see it approaching, so I just said, "Thank you, maybe later," and ran towards the bus, which was beautifully full of people. He didn't follow me in, and as soon as I got home, I dumped the chocolates. I didn't see him again for a few months, but the next time I did, it was probably one of the weirdest encounters I've ever had. I'm really an idiot. If I were in a horror movie, I would be the first to die. I have no survival instincts. I was leaving a late-night class, this time by myself. He was outside, and he quickly ran up to me. He said, "I just want to give you something. I promise I'll leave," and held out his hand. I kind of cut mine because it seemed like he was going to hand me something, but he grabbed my arm instead and pulled me towards him. I was so shocked I couldn't even react. He said, "I just want you to know that if I can't be with you, I don't want anyone else to." I was just about ready to scream when I heard a guy I have class with behind me asking if I was headed home. He saw the situation and must have seen the horrified look on my face because he quickly grabbed my shoulder and Arnold let go of my arm and simply left. I told my friends about it when I got home and asked some of my guy friends to walk with me from time to time so I wouldn't be alone because Arnold started showing up everywhere. He somehow figured out my university schedule, work schedule, and even where I lived. The police in my country really don't give a rat's ass about stalkers or anything to do with that really, so I could only rely on my friends and my own wits. He would disappear and stop following me around for a few months, and then suddenly appear again. But he never approached me, so I started to shrug it off. It's been 3 years now. 3 years, and he finally gathered up the courage, or balls, or stupidity, or I don't know what, to approach me again. This was my breaking point. I was waiting for my bus to go home, all by myself. I had been going with a friend who lives close to me for months now, and this was the first time I was going back alone since then. There were other people at the same stop, so I was calm. Then I got the feeling that someone was watching me, and when I turned around, Arnold was there. He was just standing there, staring at me with those hateful eyes, and I couldn't help but feel scared. Since there were people around, I thought he wouldn't dare come close, but he did. He said, "Why do you keep avoiding me?" I flipped the fuck out and yelled at him to stay the fuck away from me, that I would go to the police if he took one more step. He didn't move. The people around us pretended not to see or hear anything. People here really don't barge into situations like these. The bus was nowhere in sight, so I started walking back to campus, and he started following me, keeping up with my pace. Every 10 seconds or so, I would look back and yell at him, but nothing worked. Until one couple saw us from a distance and asked if I needed any help. Arnold saw them and started to quickly walk the other way. I haven't seen him again since, but I'm afraid he will show up again any minute. I have changed my number 3 times already. Almost nobody has it, but he still manages to get it somehow. Even though I'm still in this situation, I like to think that maybe I could have avoided it if I had been clearer earlier on. Or maybe just a flat-out bitch so that he would not have gotten any wrong ideas. I really, really hope I never see him again. This story was submitted by Miranda. We moved into this house about 3 or so years ago, and it's been great. Coming from a trailer in a rural swamp area to a house in a neighborhood was pretty nice. We have an alarm system, and one night we got a knock on our door. My dad answered the door, and this guy had his car idling in our driveway with the headlights on. It was storming and pretty late at night, so it was really weird that we'd have any visitors. The guy was wearing a jacket, jeans, and some sneakers, and looked like a pretty normal dude. He had a little bag in his hand and said that he was from the alarm system company and needed to come inside to check our alarm. My dad thought this was pretty suspicious and told him that we didn't need our alarm checked, but he kept insisting. My dad asked him what was in the bag, and the guy said, "It's the device I need to check your alarm with." Finally, my dad had enough of him prodding to get in and just shut the door on him. A few minutes went by, and the guy still hadn't left. We were about to call the police when we got another knock on the door, and it was the guy again. Again, we're from a rural swampy area, and sort of the black sheep of the neighborhood, so the guy was surprised when my dad answered the door and pointed a 12-gauge shotgun at him. At this point, he ran back to his car and left. We didn't call the police, but we should have. About a week later, we were watching the news, and we saw the picture of the guy come up. He had been telling people he was checking alarms, but when they let him in, he'd disable the alarm and rob the families. The little bag that was with him had a gun in it. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I'd like to thank everyone sending in their stories, and if you would like a chance to have your story featured, make sure you check the description on how to submit your story. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.